You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now it's 7. Plenty of rain has made its way through the 4 states. We have advice from the experts on staying safe during possible flooding conditions.
Also, President Trump took a victory lap as he made the case for his second term's agenda.
And we've got cloudy skies, temperatures colder out there, but the big story, the potentially damaging wind gusts. Well, the latest on that forecast gets you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowe.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday, March the 5th. And it is a very windy, very cold morning. We had showers, we had storms yesterday, we had snow. That snow exiting the area now. We also had a lot of heavy rain yesterday.
We certainly did. Matter of fact, the National Weather Service highlighted flood safety yesterday during Severe Weather Preparedness Week.
Local first responders are offering ways to stay safe amid that flood risk. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
This time of year, our weather can be very unpredictable. We can get large amounts of rain in a very short period of time.
Alan Brown, the chief of 4-state search and rescue, knows just how dangerous flooding can become, as he's responded to many flood-related emergencies around the 4-state area.
I remember was down around the Neosho area, and we were able to pull a family out of a car that was almost completely submerged in water.
He says those moments are some that he'll never forget.
It's hard to forget the look of relief on somebody's face when you pull them out of that situation.
And while he was able to save some lives, he says that's not always the case.
For somebody to be in a situation that it turns into a recovery, and we realize that can be the reality sometimes. Our hope is that we can make it a rescue before it becomes a recovery.
The fire chief for the city of Miami and his team often respond to flood-related emergencies. Chris Chenoweth says with a flood-prone city, their department is familiar with water rescues.
Pretty quickly, we can lose access to several thousands of our residents. So State Highway 125 will flood, and that adds 5 or 6 minutes at least to our response time to the south end of town. So when you're in an emergency, that 5 or 6 minutes could be super valuable.
The fire chief says sometimes floodwaters can be a bigger risk than people realize. He says it only takes a couple inches of water on the roads to cause an emergency.
6 inches of water is all it takes to knock you off your feet. So if you start walking across the floodwater and it gets, has washed the road out and you're driving, then you're in trouble before you can do anything.
And it only takes about a foot of water to sweep away an average car. He says if you're driving and you do happen to come across floodwater,
turn around and go back home and wait. Don't ever drive across the water.
Reporting in Miami, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
According to weather.gov, floods kill more people in the U.S. each year than any other thunderstorm-related hazard.
And we, of course, had a lot of heavy rain yesterday. Shannon Becker was out showing us some of that. Cherokee County officials showing us where some of that was as well. So that's the other thing is, flash flooding, I think, is the biggest concern when it comes to the flooding risk in our area because we get those heavy downpours and you just suddenly have rapidly rising water. I remember the floods in Neosho back in 2017. I went down there. The waters were up to the roof of the house in the morning. Came back an hour later, the water had receded.
Yeah, so it gets dangerous very quickly.
That's the dangers of flash flooding. So just remember, turn around, don't drown. Now, no flooding concerns for us today, at least in terms of any additional rainfall. What we have as a problem are the very gusty winds. Let's look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Mostly cloudy skies out there, but they're slowly beginning to clear. And these winds have been shaking this camera all morning long. Same with the MoDOT camera at 32nd in range line. In fact, you can see a little bit of clearing wanting to try and take place out there. But look at that traffic light just blowing back and forth. And that's the issue we have is, yes, it's going to be colder than average today, and that's not fun. But we have the bigger concern over the potential for damaging wind gusts again that are going to be anywhere from 50 to 65 miles an hour. So in that kind of situation, it's not just high-profile vehicles that are affected. Your personal sedan could be affected by those sudden gusts cutting across the front of it. So you need to keep that in mind. Of course, if you are driving a high-profile vehicle, please be very careful. KHP shared yesterday photos of a number of semi-trucks out to our west that had been blown over on their sides from these winds. I'll be out of the northwest, and it will remain that way throughout the majority of the day. Skies will continue to clear. We're still going to be below normal, and it won't be until later this evening that these winds will start to give us a bit of a break. Temperatures this morning, we're all into the 30s out there, but we've got 30 as the cold spot up in Iola, otherwise low to mid 30s. And our highs today, again, below average. Most of us low to mid 40s with skies gradually clearing through the day. And after about 6, 7 o'clock, the winds will gradually begin to ease up for us. Now, it's going to be breezy tomorrow, but not nearly as breezy. It will also be warmer tomorrow. We'll go over those details with you and have a look at that weekend forecast here in just a few more minutes. Lise?
All right, Chris, thanks. A Carthage man is rushed to the hospital after suffering multiple gunshot wounds late Tuesday evening. Carthage first responders were called to the 400 block of South Orner Avenue around 9:40 p.m. yesterday for reports of gunshots. Now, upon arrival, they found an adult male with multiple gunshot wounds. Despite his life-threatening injuries, the man was talking to first responders before being transported to Mercy Joplin. While the investigation is ongoing, there's a suspect detained at this time, and police believe this was an isolated incident as both parties know each other. We'll have more information on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com, as it becomes available. Miami residents will soon have a chance to learn more about proposed bioprocessing projects near Quapaw. Argo Development partners, along with the Miami Area Economic Development Service, will host an open house for the Oklahoma Bioprocessing Project. The open house will provide an overview of the project, which aims to convert poultry litter into renewable natural gas and fertilizer, as well as give the public a chance to ask questions. The open house will take place Tuesday, March 11th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the Miami Civic Center. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, President Trump laid out his vision for peace around the world and what he calls the renewal of the American dream in his first address to a joint session of Congress since returning to office. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively has more from Capitol Hill.
6 weeks into his second term, President Trump lays out his vision for the next 4 years. In this address to a joint session of Congress, President Trump played up his accomplishments and defended a sweeping agenda.
We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years.
Just moments into the address,
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir.
House Speaker Mike Johnson ordered Democratic Congressman Al Green of Texas thrown out of the chamber after he repeatedly interrupted the president. From ending DEI programs to the dismantling of USAID and the firing of federal workers via DOGE cuts, President Trump pushed back against critics, saying he's gone too far.
My administration is fighting to deliver the change America needs to bring a future that America deserves.
But the president's vision comes as the nation remains divided by economic uncertainty amid new tariffs against Canada, Mexico, and China.
Whatever they tax us, we will tax them.
After a campaign focused on curbing illegal immigration, he called on the Republican-controlled Congress to pass more border security funding.
Illegal border crossings last month were by far the lowest ever recorded, ever.
Freshman Senator Alyssa Slotkin of Michigan delivering the Democratic response.
For those keeping score, the national debt is going up, not down. And if he's not careful, he could walk us right into a recession.
President Trump is scheduled to meet with a group of House conservatives on Wednesday about a stopgap spending bill, hoping to avert a government shutdown that could come less than 2 weeks from now. On Capitol Hill, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, we'll learn how going for a run can help benefit families at the Ronald McDonald House. And later, a little music store in New York has a big history going back nearly 70 years. We'll be right back. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. The Ronald McDonald House is inviting you to run for a good cause next weekend. And with us this morning is Executive Director of the Ronald McDonald House Charities of the 4 states, Lori Jones, to share more about their St. Patrick's Day 5K. Good morning, and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, happy to have you here. So talk to me for those who might not know about your annual St. Patrick's Day 5K.
Yes, so this is our second time we transitioned what used to be known as the Big Red Shoe to our St. Patrick's Day race, and we're really excited. Number one, because we offer this race free for the community. So we want this to be about participation, families, fun, get out, get your body moving, do it together. And so we got some really great sponsors that help us underwrite the cost of putting that on.
Absolutely, yes.
So thank you to Tamco Roofing. But it's free. So it's next Saturday. They can sign up online and register.
Okay.
And it's at 9 o'clock downtown.
All right, fantastic. And now this helps not only families in Joplin, but the entire 4-state community. Can you talk to me about, people who want to sign up for this 5K, what they're really doing to help families in the community?
So I'd love to mention that actually. So 1 in 4 families are actually from Crawford County, Pittsburgh, Southeast Kansas area. And so we're located in Joplin because that's where the need is. That's where Mercy and Freeman are. That's where the families that we're serving. But we're serving truly the 4-state area. And so we really want to get that message out. We don't want this to be a Joplin event. We're located in Joplin, but we're truly serving the 4-state area. So we want to let Pittsburgh and all the Southeast Kansas area know this is a fundraiser for you, and we want you to come and have fun and experience what the Ronald McDonald House does as well.
Absolutely. And of course, as you mentioned, that this is free, but you're also taking donations. And if people can't maybe attend this event, they can also donate as well if they want to contribute. Where can they do that?
Absolutely. So our website is rmhjoplin.org. And absolutely, we welcome those donations and would love for you to learn more about our house and who we are and what we do.
Absolutely. And just talk to me a little bit briefly. Now, you had this last year. You're doing it again this year. Anything different? Anything that people need to look out for this year that wasn't there last year?
We're kind of a sucker for some of those fun things that make it a really memorable race. So please, wear green, go big. I want to see a lot of tutus. So we'll have the Leprechaun King and the Leprechaun Queen for the top finishers. But then we partnered with Joplin Greenhouse, and so we've got free clovers for everybody that participates.
Okay, wonderful.
And we'll have a prize for the biggest group. So right now, if you're good competitors, you can still get your group code registered.
Okay,
and
wonderful.
There's like an after-school walking program and a local gym that are kind of neck and neck to see who can rally the largest group as well.
Lots of fun. Definitely don't want to miss that. Now, of course, this is going to be next weekend, March 15th at 9 a.m. If you'd like to learn more about the mission of the Ronald McDonald House of the 4 states, St. Patrick's Day 5K, you can just visit their website located at the bottom of your screen. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:17 now on this Wednesday morning. Live look downtown Pittsburgh. Starting to see a little clearing take place, getting to that mostly cloudy point. But again, the big story today is going to be the wind. There's some more clearing off to the west from the Modoc Camera 32nd and range line in Joplin. But again, the winds are the big story today because we're talking again damaging wind gusts 50 to 65 miles an hour. If you've been with us all morning, you know I've been saying that 100 times, but you got to emphasize because KHP posted some photos from just west of our area of a number of semi-trucks that have been blown over from this wind. This is damaging wind gusts. We've had the power poles damaged in Carthage from these winds, and it could lead to additional damage to trees, power poles, which could lead to additional, even brief power outages. So you've got to be prepared today. And if you're driving, even a smaller car is going to be susceptible to a 60-mile-an-hour wind gust hitting it, coming across it there. So make sure you're playing it safe. Make sure you've got both hands on the wheel and you're being careful out there. Skies will clear. Temperatures will be below normal today. And late this evening and overnight, the winds will actually calm down. We get a little break from them. They're going to pick up again tomorrow, but thankfully they won't be as bad as what we're experiencing today. They'll be out of the southwest, occasionally up to 20 miles an hour. We'll have mostly cloudy skies Thursday. Despite the clouds, we're not expecting any rain, and we are actually going to be warmer tomorrow. We'll be even warmer as we head into our Friday as well. High wind mornings continuing. Now, these in southeast Kansas are set to expire at 9 a.m. The others here run through 6 this evening. The wind advisories on the Missouri side run through 6 this evening, and the advisories in Oklahoma and Arkansas run through noon today. But again, across the entire region for a good portion of this day, those wind gusts 50 to 65 miles an hour. We also still have a few lingering winter weather advisories that will continue through 9 a.m. Again, wouldn't be surprised if they're canceled before the show is over, as the bulk of any of that light snow we had is pretty well out of our immediate area. But we still do have those advisories. Another look, 7th and Range Line. You can see where we've got the clouds, and then you can see where we're trying to get some clearing out there. So mostly cloudy, breezy through the morning, hanging out into the 30s. And as we head into the afternoon, highs below normal, low mid 40s out there. Skies clearing. Some of our friends are our far western counties. You might make the upper 40s, maybe even some low 50s. You'll still be below normal, but it's just as clouds clear, you may get a little more sunshine than the rest of us, may get a little warmer than the rest of us as well. Clear skies for the evening, winds calming down, upper 20s as we go into the overnight hours, which would be good because upper 20s is already cold enough. We don't need the winds to help out. Tomorrow, again, it's breezy, but not that bad. Low mid 50s out there. We don't cool off too much Thursday night. That leads us to a nice Friday. Still could be breezy Friday though, but not expected to be as gusty as we're seeing today. Mid 60s, a little cooler on Saturday, some shower chances, but worry not. Sunday looking fantastic. We go into the mid 50s, and that continues our warming trend. We're not looking back, at least not for the next several days after that. So we go 60s, maybe even some 70s. A few shower chances possible by next Wednesday. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this. Well, Bob Dylan, Paul Simon, John Lennon. What they have in common isn't just that they're music legends. They also all frequented the same tiny music store in New York City.
Michael George visited the legendary shop that's been operating for nearly 7 decades.
When you walk into the Music Inn, it's like stepping back in time. This tiny shop in New York's Greenwich Village is a living piece of music history.
Since it started in 1958, it rooted itself into the beginning of the folk movement.
Owner Jeffrey Slatnick first started working at the Music Inn in 1968. Here, music is a labor of love, where they sell and repair almost any instrument you can think of, from the common to the exotic.
We start with the dulcimer, this mountain dulcimer. It's an American folk Appalachian instrument.
There are instruments here from India, Japan, and the Middle East. Slatnick even sells a guitar he invented himself, called a limulus. When the word got out the Music Inn was the place to discover new sounds, it became a hangout for some of the biggest names in music.
Paul Simon, John Lennon, Bob Dylan.
Oh, where have you been, my darling young one?
Bob Dylan's story is currently making history of its own. The biopic A Complete Unknown is up for 8 Oscars this Sunday.
Bob Dylan had hung out in this store for a number of years. When he first came to New York, he lived down the block, and this was a perfect place to come. We had the best guitars you could buy.
Slatnick remembers the day Dylan and another musician, Garth Hudson, wanted to buy the same guitar.
I said, Garth Hudson gets the guitar. And Bob Dylan said, why does he get it? I said, because you get to be Bob Dylan.
I asked Slatnick what keeps this place going after 67 years.
The truth of the matter is, it's really New York City that made this store.
A place that will always strike a chord with anyone who loves music.
What an incredible history. And imagine his stories meeting some of these folks over the years. Just
legends.
Amazing.
Yeah, crazy.
Well, the Music Inn was also used as a filming location for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, cool.
A lot of history at that store.
Absolutely. And coming up, warmer days ahead mean more motorcycles on the road. We'll hear from one expert on how everyone can remain safe on the roadway.
And we've got those potentially damaging wind gusts continuing across the area. Another look at your forecast when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:28. I'm Elise Snowy. Well, Pittsburg State University hosted its annual spring fair yesterday. Now, recruiters from a variety of industries gathered at the Plaster Center to connect with students of all majors and classifications. The Office of Career Development organized the event to give students the chance to network, explore internships, and pursue job opportunities. Now, for event organizers, networking is the name of the game.
All in one room. It takes out the part of going to employer to business to business. They're all in one location where they can make those connections and multiple multiple connections.
140 companies participated in the event, and it's all about tradition for the Fort Scott Kiwanis Club. Yesterday, the group hosted its annual Shrove Tuesday pancake feed for the 102nd year. Now, if you're curious about the significance of eating pancakes on Shrove Tuesday, it actually dates back about 1,500 years when Christians were banned from eating all meat and animal products during Lent. So they made pancakes to use up their eggs, milk, and butter.
It's a fellowship thing, it's a tradition that we do every year. This is Fat Tuesday. We started doing it on that, so it's just something the community, I think that we get good support from our corporate sponsors, and so it kind of reaches out to those people that work for different corporations, different companies in town.
The Kiwanis provides funding for youth activities in the community like swimming passes and skating rink tickets. And some call it Mardi Gras, but it's also referred to as Shrove Tuesday, the day before Ash Wednesday, when the Lenten season of fasting begins. And last night, the Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Frontenac hosted a Mardi Gras parish dinner. Attendees enjoyed New Orleans cuisine, bingo, and prizes.
Yeah, I think the emotions are high. There's always some anxiety with Lent. There's some fears. There's some excitement. There are people that love Lent. They like to suffer, There are people that don't like Lent because it's hard. We deny ourselves. We get in a daily practice of saying no to ourselves in some way, and that's hard.
Now, the French name Mardi Gras means Fat Tuesday, from the custom of using all the fats in the home before Lent in preparation for fasting and abstinence. Now let's head over to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Got another very windy day out there for us. Live look downtown Pittsburgh, still mostly cloudy skies. But again, the big story today is going to be those winds and the potential for damaging wind gusts throughout the day today. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line. Again, trying to get some clearing in there. We'll get more clearing as we head through the afternoon. We'll see those skies continue to clear. But again, those northwest winds gusting anywhere from 50 to 65 miles an hour. And that will continue through a good portion of the day until they start to finally ease up a little later this evening and into the overnight hours out there. So again, we'll also be below normal today as well. Temperatures this morning cold. We're sitting thankfully in the 30s. It's not any colder than that, but Iola's still the cold spot at 30. The rest of us low to mid 30s. As we go through today, it's going to be a chilly day for sure. Low mid 40s, skies gradually clearing, and later this evening those winds thankfully will begin to ease up. But between here and there, again, high profile vehicles, low profile vehicles impacted by these wind gusts, and of course that could lead to bringing down some tree branches and possibly additional power lines being brought down as well. So make sure you're prepared for potential power outages today as well. It'll be breezy again tomorrow, but not nearly as windy as this, and it'll be a little warmer tomorrow as well. Details on that in the full forecast. That's coming up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, soon warmer weather will be here, which means more motorcycles will hit the roads. Now, according to MoDOT, last year there were 133 fatalities involving cyclists in Missouri. KOAM's Lonnie Walton talked to motorcyclists in Joplin about safety measures we all should follow to protect ourselves and others.
Car pulled out in front of me. I assumed they were going to turn right, and instead they turned left.
Dave Staso is a motorcyclist and the owner of Scooter Dave's in Joplin. He said he almost lost his life when he was just 17.
I was accelerating to go around them. My bike hit their car. Me and the bike flipped over the car, landed on the pavement.
To help prevent incidents like Dave's, Caitlin Gittaland from Pitbull Power Sports in Joplin says everyone should follow a few tips.
to look at 360 all the way around, making sure you're looking over your shoulder whenever you're going into another lane. Most people just look in their mirror and think that they're good.
And according to Dave, just knowing the rules is not enough. You may need some additional training also.
They are very dangerous if you don't know how to ride them, so you should take a class if you've never rode before.
Both Gilliland and Staso say motorcyclists should make sure the weather is good before getting on the bike.
It's not so good of a day, but once that weather hits back up in the 60s in the next couple days, you're going to see everybody out on their bikes.
Of course, always with road conditions, adjust your riding based on road conditions with weather.
And most importantly, Staso says you really need to look out for yourself.
Cycles are on their own. You have to ride a bike like you're invisible and nobody else will see you, because 90% of the time they won't see you, so you have to protect yourself.
Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Now, according to MoDOT, although most crashes happen in urban areas, most fatal motorcycle incidents happen in rural areas. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. We'll have the latest from Washington as President Trump's tariff wars go into effect. In Consumer Watch this morning, major job cuts may be coming to the Internal Revenue Service. An Associated Press report says the IRS plans to dismiss as much as half of its 90,000 workers. The potential job cuts come as President Trump's administration continues to work to reduce the size of the federal workforce. Now, the report says in addition to the layoffs, Trump's administration plans to send some IRS workers to help the Department of Homeland Security with immigration enforcement. Well, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, is dismissing cases against companies JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo. The lawsuit claimed the banks did not protect consumers against fraud, costing them more than $870 million. Now, this comes after the agency dismissed cases last Thursday against Capital One, Rocket Homes, Berkshire Hathaway, and Vanderbilt Mortgage and Finance. The previous lawsuits were all filed under former CFPB Director Rohit Chopra, who was recently fired by President Trump. Well, ride-hailing company Uber is partnering with a self-driving ride-hail system to bring pickup service to Texas. Uber and Waymo are now banding together to bring autonomous rides to Austin, Texas. Passengers wanting get-around service will be able to hop rides in Waymo's all-electric Jaguar I-Pace vehicle. Now, driverless rides are getting around to more major urban areas. Uber and Waymo will also bring the driverless taxi-style rides to Atlanta in the near future. The U.S. is squarely in an escalating trade war with President Trump's long-threatened tariffs now in effect. Now, while the president has said the move is intended to crack down on the drug war, economists warn it could also mean higher prices for Americans. Fox News senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has the latest on where shoppers could feel the biggest pinch on their wallets.
U.S. stocks closed lower Tuesday, uncertainty mounting among investors after newly imposed 25% tariffs by the Trump administration on Mexico and Canada went into effect.
You have a wall of worry. That wall of worry has led to market volatility that investors haven't seen in well over a year now.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau warning Americans that prices will go up on both sides of the border.
This is a very dumb thing to do.
Where Americans could see prices rise the most, economists estimate, is with food. Both Mexico and Canada are major suppliers of fruits and veggies, as well as meats, grains, and poultry. Another category shoppers could feel the biggest sting: cars and car parts.
I mean, we're going to struggle and they're going to struggle, and a lot of it is out of our hands.
And with more tariffs coming next week for China, electronics are also expected to go up in price. Target CEO Brian Cornell saying shoppers should brace for higher prices overall, with strawberries, avocados, and bananas expected to cost more within just a matter of days. Still, the Trump administration is defending the move.
Well, respectfully, this is not a trade war, it's a drug war.
After markets closed Tuesday, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said President Trump may announce a pathway for relief on Mexican and Canadian goods as soon as Wednesday. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:43 now on this Wednesday morning, starting the live look downtown Pittsburgh. Starting to see some clearing take place, and it'll be gradual, but we'll eventually see a little more sunshine out there. MoDOT camera 32nd in range line, getting a little more sunlight in here as these clouds continue to break up across the area. The big story of the day, as I've mentioned already, is going to be the wind. These winds gusting anywhere from 50 to 65 miles an hour for a good portion of the day today, which could lead to additional damage for tree branches, could lead to additional power outages in some cases, and of course is a big hazard not just to high-profile vehicles, but even the low-profile ones. A 60-mile-an-hour wind gust cutting across the front of your car, that's going to knock it. So make sure that you are careful out there. Keep both hands on the wheel. Now, skies will clear, temperatures below normal today, and of course very windy. The good news is later this evening and overnight, these winds ease up and they can become close to calm tonight. Should be a nice break. Clouds will begin to increase on our Thursday, and then the winds will pick back up again out of the southwest, gusting occasionally upwards of about 20 miles an hour. So not nearly as bad as what we're seeing today, but still a bit breezy. And despite all the clouds, not expecting any rain, and it's going to be warmer. Take a look at these temperatures heading into Thursday afternoon. Now, as we go into our Friday, winds pick up again out of the south. Still not expected to be like today, but a bit breezier. That's going to usher in even warmer temperatures for us with nothing but sunshine out there as we cruise into the mid to upper 60s for most of us as we head into Friday afternoon. A reminder, high wind warnings across a good portion of the area. Now, these set to expire at 9 a.m. These are set to expire at 6 this evening, along with these wind advisories. And then these wind advisories, Oklahoma and Arkansas, set to expire at noon today. But between here and there, still a very windy day. You've got to be cautious out there. And again, prepare for possible power outages. You know, if you're working in an office or whatever the case may be, make sure you're saving frequently, save often. We still have winter weather advisories for some of our area through 9 a.m. But again, the bulk of the snow now has moved out and again, didn't have a major impact, but still led to some minor issues here and there. Here's another look at those skies as they try and clear out from 7th and range line. Mostly cloudy through the morning. Temperatures kind of just sitting into the 30s. I will eventually make low to mid 40s out there with those northwest winds again sustained 25 to 35 and those gusts 50 to 65 miles an hour. Into the evening, skies are clear, winds begin to ease up. They'll eventually be calm or light and variable overnight. Clear skies continue. It's cold again, back into the mid to upper 20s. It'll start to warm up tomorrow. Not bad, low mid 50s out there. Mild evening Thursday night. That leads to the even better temperatures by Friday. We'll cool back heading into Saturday. Cloudy skies, maybe a shower or two, but even that is short-lived. Temperatures begin to warm up as we head into next week. Check those out. Not bad Sunday, even better next week. 60s, maybe some 70s, and a possibility of a few showers by next Wednesday. So really starting to settle into spring. That is a check of your forecast. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Learning how to code one step at a time. Artificial intelligence is a booming industry.
Teenage girls were given the opportunity to learn the art of coding at Amazon in Seattle. Sira Matsuzawa has more on how this program aims to address the gender gap in the tech industry.
No, this isn't your typical classroom.
I see that you are all deep in your work.
This group of 13 to 18-year-olds are learning about artificial intelligence, machine learning. and what it takes to build a website.
So you just want to repeat this process for every class.
This was day 2 of nonprofit Code with Clossie's Codeabration program, held at Amazon in downtown Seattle.
Today we've kind of been teaching our students about like UI, UX and AI models. So they're kind of working on a passion project where they're going to train like different models to identify like images.
Aditi attended this camp when she was in high school. Now she's back as an instructor assistant and a freshman in college.
We don't really have as much like representation and spaces where we kind of get to like explore our like STEM principles. So this is just like a really unique space for us to kind of like express our voices and ideas. And I think especially for like young girls who might like feel those stereotypes more like in high school or elementary, middle school, like this is a way for them to like break out of that.
She's referring to the gender gap in the tech industry. Code with Clossie CEO O.C. Imyaparia says the nonprofit was founded 10 years ago to address that gap, something she has firsthand experience with.
I have lived all the journey from being a young person who was curious about technology to eventually being a director of product at Google. And I think that journey is so much what fuels me in my role today. The biggest hope we have is they walk out feeling confident that they can do something hard. Right? That this thing that everybody's talking about on the news and abstract form, AI everywhere, is really something that they have now tangible experience with.
And they hope that will generate a newfound curiosity and passion that will last beyond the keystroke.
That's a good question. At the end of the day, technology helps create opportunity and solve problems. And we think that everybody should be part of that conversation.
Very cool to see. Very cool that they have different organizations and groups like that to help push women in technology forward. Great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, as I mentioned, AI is becoming a big thing these days. So
the way the future.
Absolutely. And in your future, very gusty winds throughout the day today. Quick look at the future track, cover over everything. Skies will begin to clear. They're already doing so, and they will continue to do so as we head through the morning and into the afternoon hours. We're still going to have those northwest winds gusting anywhere from 50 to 65 miles an hour for most of the day. But the good news is they will eventually begin to calm down for us as we go into the evening and overnight. By tomorrow, though, clouds begin to increase, and then we will see southwest winds pick up a bit, gusting around 20. And despite the cloud cover, no rain expected, and we're actually going to be warming up tomorrow. It'll get a little breezy again on Friday, and that south wind will bring in even warmer temperatures as we head into Friday afternoon. A reminder on these high wind warnings, again, these expire at 9 a.m. The ones from here and here expire at 6 this evening, as do the wind advisories on the Missouri side. And then the wind advisories Oklahoma, Arkansas will run through noon today. And of course, we still have these winter weather advisories, but again, the bulk of the snow and wintry stuff is gone. But at least for now, they still continue through 9 o'clock this morning. We're at mostly cloudy skies. It's going to be breezy, and you can see mostly cloudy, but getting more sunshine in there from 7th and Rangeline, hanging out in the 30s. Well, now look at your forecast plus the news you need to know right after this.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A Carthage man is rushed to the hospital after suffering multiple gunshot wounds late Tuesday evening. It happened around 9:40 p.m. near the 400 block of South Orner Avenue. An adult male was found with multiple gunshot wounds. The man was talking to first responders before being transported to Mercy Joplin. A subject detained at this time, and police believe this was an isolated incident as both parties know each other. And the National Weather Service highlighted flood safety for severe weather preparedness week. And the 4-state search and rescue chief reminds people that just 6 inches of swiftly moving water can knock someone off their feet, and a foot of water can sweep away some cars. Now, according to weather.gov, floods kill more people in the U.S. each year than any other thunderstorm-related hazard. And Argo Development Partners, along with the Miami Area Economic Development Service, will host an open house for the Oklahoma Bioprocessing Project near Quapaw. The open house will provide an overview of the project and give the public a chance to ask questions. The open house will take place Tuesday, March 11th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the Miami Civic Center.
And we've got, again, the high wind warnings, wind advisories, winds gusting anywhere from 50 to 65 miles an hour out of the northwest. Outside of that, below normal temperatures as well, low mid 40s. Skies gradually clearing as we head through the afternoon. Eventually clear skies this evening, and those winds will eventually ease up as well, coming light and variable or calm overnight. Clear skies and cold again back into the low to mid 20s. A little warmer tomorrow, breezy, southwest winds gusting to 20, low to mid 50s. Great on Friday, breezy but sunny and mild, mid-60s. A little cooler Saturday with some shower chances. Once we get past that, we start warming up, and at least over the next week or so, we do not look back. Temperatures 60s, 70s, and maybe some showers next Wednesday. Some beautiful spring-like weather.
All righty. Well, yesterday, the Pittsburgh Area Chamber of Commerce invited the public out to experience the flavors and charms of Italy.
Sorry. I've never done that before. No, you got it.
The Chamber hosted a Taste of Tuscany, an event featuring Tuscan cuisine, Italian atmosphere, and great company.
Now it's my turn. The event also served as a way for the Chamber to promote its upcoming international getaway trip to Tuscany. Certainly very interesting.
Yes.
It's pretty darn good, too.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain going to Tuscany.
Festa Italiana, when that comes up again, that is a fantastic event to go to. Lots of fun there. Well, not today, though, unfortunately, and breezy and chilly today. Chilly, also good in cold weather.
Yeah.
We will see you back here today at noon with more news and weather.
Have a great rest of your morning.